Hello, I'm Ivania Montes,
And I'm Wyatt Mitchison.
and this is CBU TV. Black History Month is an amazing time and opportunity to learn more about the Black community. CBU TV's Lauren Brooks has more on this story.
What's up, Lancers? As many of you know, February is Black History Month. It is a time for us to observe, remember, and learn about the history of African Americans and their culture. I had a chance to sit down with Jordan White, treasurer of the new club at CBU, Black Student Union, to discuss events that they have held and upcoming events as well. Let's go take a look.
I want us to start doing weekly events, and so every single week we've done one or two events. The last couple of events have to do with student forums for us to just communicate and kind of have those really cool or difficult conversations. And then we also got to work with the basketball team to have, for the basketball team to present BSU, and that was really awesome. And then actually coming up, we have a really fun event with United, which is another club on campus. And we're just gonna have fun. We're gonna come together and cook together. We will have guest speakers coming in this month, and then after that, we're hoping to have a couple more game nights and also have a museum online tour that we can just go through together.
Jordan also spoke on the importance of establishing a BSU here at California Baptist University.
I think cultivating community in general is just super important, and I think that it is. I think culture is really important, and that's often sometimes we forget, is to kind of dive into our own culture and talk about that, and even talk about what's happening around society and how we can do better as people to get to that place of really loving and caring about one another. So I think that the BSU is a huge aspect of that, and so it's super important, especially on this campus.
That's all for today, Lancers. For CBU TV, I am Lauren Brooks.
The women's basketball team is having their best season in program history, currently riding an over 20-game win streak, and they have clinched the WAC regular season championship. I got to sit down with head coach Jared Olson to discuss the success of the team.
How did you guys get off to just such a great start?
I think it's been a slow process, just like everything this year. I think a little bit of it kind of snuck up on us too. We've been doing a good job of just kind of focusing on the next game, taking it one game at a time, which I know is very cliche, but it has been something that we've been kind of focusing on. And only recently when, people like yourself or others have commented on like, hey, you're off to, you've won this many games in a row and stuff, have we really thought about it that much? But at the end of the day, the games are kind of coming in little chunks. It's Fridays and Saturdays. So you just got to kind of focus on what's coming ahead and that one team that you're playing and just do the best you can when you get out there on the court. And the results usually take care of themselves that way.
Yeah, I mean, your strategy so far has been working. I mean, last night I read over all the stats and everything as long as I've been following you guys as well. And you guys are just dominating in every statistical category. I mean, you're outscoring teams by nearly 19 points a game. You're outshooting them, rebounding. You're playing better defense. Your steals are a lot higher. You're blocking more. Whatever stat it is, you guys are just dominating. How are you guys playing at such an elite level? Is it something you're seeing on film? Is it just your style of play? What is it?
I just think the girls have done a great job of working hard, being really committed to the team. And, I think everybody is kind of, sacrificed a little bit of their own game for the betterment of the team. And when that happens, I mean, you can see, how things really explode and it benefits everybody, and sometimes you need to give up a little bit of yourself to achieve something greater than yourself. And I think this team has been a good example of that.
Well, I mean, this leads perfectly into my next question. I left out a stat specifically because I want to talk about it. I know you probably love it. Your assist numbers. Your assist numbers per game are through the roof. You guys lead the NCAA, although it's not up on their website. I dug through all these different teams. I couldn't find anyone dishing out more assists than you guys. 21 assists per game. That leads any team in women's basketball. And you're holding your opposition to about 9.6. How are you guys able to make so well? Is it stuff you're drawing up? Is it just everyone cutting and moving? What is it?
I wish I could tell you it's something I was drawing up. I'd be a lot better coach if that was the case. I think a lot of it is just, emphasizing sharing the ball. And I mean, one of my favorite phrases to use with the team is let the ball find the shooter. I think a lot of times in basketball, we kind of try to give the ball to the best player and they just kind of figure it out. And when it doesn't work for them, then they pass. But I think this year's team has really embraced just kind of like playing as a collective and really sharing, with each other, opportunities. And I think a lot of that comes with trust too. I mean, you've got to trust your teammate that when you move the ball, that they're going to be able to make the shot, but also that they're going to make the right play if it's not there for them. So I think just, the willingness to be selfless and to trust each other has been a huge thing for our team.
Absolutely. And I mean, as you said, you guys aren't really thinking about the streak or everything, but from what I've heard of teams that keep streaks in the past of long winning streaks, I think back to the 73-9 Warriors when they started off undefeated. I mean, when they lost a game, they almost said it was a breath of relief because they didn't have to think about the streak anymore. Is the streak even something you guys are focused on? And overall, how do you just keep the success going for the rest of the season?
I mean, I think the streak thing is just kind of like something that's kind of on the side that's pretty fun to talk about, but I don't think it's something that, I mean, it's not like we set out the season to win X number of games in a row or anything like that. I mean, I think the goals we set at the beginning of the year in terms of like winning the WAC regular season, trying to win the WAC tournament, making postseason, like those kind of things I think are still at the forefront of what we're trying to accomplish. But every season has its own story and its own journey, and sometimes there's fun little side stories that kind of pop up here and there, and that just happens to be one of them for us this year. And I mean, I think you'll know we've really gotten into it when we start having weird superstitions, like somebody has to wear like a certain color socks to win the game or something, and we have not reached that level yet. So I think we're in a good spot.
Keeping your mental health up is extremely important, especially during these times of the pandemic, where you may be alone or inside more. Our very own Marquise Brown sat down with the Health and Wellness Center here at CBU to see what they were doing to help students.
Hello Lancers, this is CBU TV and I'm Marquise Brown. With the announcement of CBU possibly returning to its traditional in-person learning, students and staff are excited by the news. When asked, students reported both positive and negative criticism about their virtual learning experiences and how it has shaped the environment here on campus. Despite the circumstances, students seem to be making the best out of the situation.
And honestly, I'm really happy with the experience that I had despite the limitations, because I've made the best friends ever. And, even though it's kind of hard to social distance and a lot of us keep our doors closed, I've met a lot of really great friends and had a lot of fun in Simmons. So I still am happy with how things turned out.
But I would definitely say people are more intentional about hanging out, because that's really all you can do is just hang out on the front lawn or go get coffee outside or something. So that's been really cool to see how important community is to everybody, even when there's not necessarily a lot of things going on.
Although many students who live on campus have adapted well to the new circumstances, it has been a bit more complicated for some.
I think the main issue that I developed over quarantine was my social anxiety kind of peaked. I've had anxiety before about a lot of things. I'm a music/performance major, so I know what it's like to be really, really nervous. But the second COVID happened and I couldn't really see anyone, and it gives a lot of room for my brain to overthink and overwork certain scenarios that will probably never happen.
I spoke with the director of the counseling center, and he elaborated more on how the COVID-19 regulations could affect on-campus students.
I would say one of the biggest struggles as a result of the pandemic for our students is the fact that they're isolated. And being isolated cuts them off from so many of the things that they're used to. Obviously, social relationships, exercise, just interacting on a casual basis.
It is apparent that the COVID-19 restrictions is linked to an increase in mental health issues among students who live on campus.
We're seeing that, COVID isn't necessarily the problem, but we're seeing COVID as being an amplifier and a magnifier of some of the existing struggles that our students are having.
The Counseling Center has several services that both on and off campus students can utilize at no additional cost. Staff of the Counseling Center hopes that for students who are mentally struggling, that they are not afraid to reach out and seek help by making an appointment or by calling in. Thank you for tuning in today, Lancers. For CBU TV, I'm Marquise Brown.
As the COVID-19 crisis winds down with the help of the vaccines, elementary schools are wondering how they will return to in-person learning. CBU TV's Diana Villa met with Superintendent of the Riverside School District, Timothy Walker, for more on this.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Yo soy Diana Villa. El estado de Nueva York fue uno de los primeros distritos escolares en reabrir las escuelas primarias. Muchos estados han tratado de seguir este ejemplo, pero ¿por qué California se ha tardado tanto? ¿Y cómo lo está tomando todo esto el condado de Riverside? Veamos más detalles.
Decisions related to the opening of schools is in the hands of the state legislature and the governor. Riverside County numbers are driving all of the districts in the county. So there are some districts that very early in the game went on record that they're not going to open this year. There's a new bill that's proposed by the combination of the Senate and the Assembly at the state level that SB 86 has been adjusted. So we're a little bit in flux at the moment. We were heading down the road of getting the Safe Schools for All Act funded and then submitting our plan and having it approved, then reaching the magic number for TK6 of 25 adjusted case rate or lower, and then opening our schools in the phased system that we have already presented to the Board of Education.
What do you miss most about school?
My friends and the playground.
I miss the swirl slide and the monkey bars and the swings.
Do you think online school is easier or harder?
A bit easier.
Online, because I just have a little school, and when I go back over there, I have a lot of school.
The safety measures that we have in place is all individuals returning to school, unless they have a medical exception, would be required to wear a mask or a facial covering, I should say, but staff have to wear a 3-ply surgical mask, 6-foot distance for any adult to student. We have plastic shields in front of the desks of all of our classrooms. Everyone coming to school will walk through a scanner that takes their temperature, and we will continue to pivot and follow all the expectations of the California Department of Public Health and Sacramento in regard to getting our students back to school.
Bueno, eso es todo por hoy. Muchas gracias. Para Lancers Noticias, yo soy Diana Villa.
The new photo studio here at CBU has opened up on Adams Street. Reporter Miguel Esparza sat down with the team lead, Christopher Kern, to discuss more about the newest addition.
What's up, Lancers? I'm Miguel Esparza. Recently, CBU Photography opened up a new photo studio and digital darkroom at Adams Business Park. I had the opportunity to sit down with program lead and assistant professor of photography, Christopher Kern.
Hi, Professor Kern. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So what's new about this space compared to the old space in the James Building?
The main intent, other than providing a single site for our students and our faculty to kind of create this sense of community and to consolidate our assets, was now we're still servicing the CBU community internally, but now we also have the ability to have an outward facing appearance to the larger community here in Riverside, and also the larger community photographic and art community. So we have plans to kind of, be able to do more shows, and also by a gracious donation from a donor, we were able to invest in 18 location lighting kits, giving the students to be able to take those and photograph, out on location rather than just in the studio. And then we've also been making an investment in our introductory DSLRs, which service our PHO 105, the camera course. We wanted to make sure we had enough cameras to go around, not only in the class during instruction, but also throughout the weeks, as students were able to check those out from our equipment room, which is here at our new spaces.
How is the photography program here preparing students for careers after?
Yeah, so the curriculum's built to have to create a strong technical foundation for our students, but also to introduce thought and creative thinking early on, which will then allow for the students to, be able to apply those technical skills in a professional working environment. We are very engaged with our professional community, not this year during COVID times, but we are very active in attending those professional organizations events and networking opportunities to help connect students with the working professionals to, sync them up with possible internships or their first career opportunities when they do leave here at CBU.
Well, thank you for joining me, Professor Kern, remotely, of course. Is there any final thoughts you have?
I just want to, put out the offer there that every semester the photography program here at CBU offers a PHO 105, which is the camera, and then also PHO 140, which is history of photography. Both fulfill requirements for everybody's GE needs here at CBU. So if anybody has an interest in photography, feel free to take that. Follow us on Instagram, CBU Photography. Connect with us and share your photography with us.
Thanks for joining us. If you want to keep up to date with what we're doing at CBU, follow us at CBU Lancer Media and subscribe to us on YouTube at CBU TV. For CBU TV, I'm Miguel Esparza.
CBU's aviation program continues to soar to new heights, even during the COVID-19 pandemic. CBU TV's Ignacio Dominguez met with Department Chair John Marcellus for more on the program.
I'm here at the CBU Airport campus where I had the chance to sit down and talk to Dr. John Marcellus and speak about the department's successes and how they're working through the COVID-19 regulations.
Professor John Marcellus has always had a love and passion for the field of aviation. He now shares that here with students and staff at the CBU Airport campus.
Yeah, I'm here because of flying. And flying, though, has always been like my tent making. Paul did tent making, and but God has blessed my flying tremendously, and I'm very thankful for that. Served in the United States Air Force for over 25 years. Reason because I love to fly, and it's just something that every student has to have when they come. I always ask that, prospective student, because if there's not that spark there to fly, it's going to be it's a hard work. But if you love to fly, it's like any day flying is better than any other. So I love to fly, but then both of my parents were in World War II. My dad was in 8th and 9th Air Force in England and France, in the Army Air Corps working on aircraft, and my mom was in China, Burma, and she was with the Flying Tigers down there as a nurse. And so they had put their lives on the line for the freedoms and liberties we have. And so for me personally, I had to do that. And so God graciously allowed me to do that.
With the aviation program having just started around 7 years ago, it has gained tremendous popularity for the university, and the Department of Aviation here at the CBU Airport campus continues to expand.
Aviation program, when you bite off on that one, it's a big deal. It's not your quintessential program. Your students are a mile up in the air going 100 miles an hour. They can't put their head down on the desk. When you're doing an aviation program, there's a lot of facets to it. You have all the academics, and so you work with the Department of Education, making sure all your accreditation is done. But we have to work with the Department of Homeland Security to make sure that all the students are screened. We work with the Department of Defense for VA, GI Bill benefits, and also with our students going in to the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. We work with the Department of Transportation. More commonly part of that is the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. And so for a program that's aviation, you kind of have two parts to it. You have the academics, and those have to work like every other section, but then you have to have certifications. And so the department is overseen quite a bit by federal regulations. Code of Federal Regulations, CFRs, we have to make sure that we're obeying every one of those. The other part is flying. If you are going to actually have a flight line, Well, now you have to have flight instructors, you have to have aircraft, maintenance, and all of that. And you have to have a safety management system, a safety program. So you have to have this, a safety culture that's built in, it's built into the fabric.
With the Department of Aviation being fairly new to CBU, it has been able to see its students graduate and become a part of the CBU Airport campus community.
I recently graduated with my aviation flight degree and my dispatch minor. I am now working here as a dispatch supervisor. I was a student worker, student dispatcher, so basically just I was doing this job and then I just got promoted, so now I just have a couple more responsibilities with that. Just something about flying, and you really it's such a small community here that you're just able to really grow and develop relationships, which I really loved, because we have a small group of professors and all of them just really care, and then all the students are just really close because you're constantly with them. Being able to work here as a student worker and then just being able to grow and develop, and I don't know, just allowing my voice to be heard, and then having the department hear my voice, it's really helped me with that.
Carlos Medina is another recent graduate from the aviation program that now works here at the CBU Airport campus.
I'm a flight instructor here at CBU. I spent about 4 years at CBU, and throughout that time I was pretty much building those foundational skills I needed to be as an instructor. And there's so much you still need to learn throughout the process, but in preparing as a flight instructor, CBU really prepared me in teaching me the fundamentals and building that strong foundation that I'll carry out throughout the rest of my career.
Even through the pandemic, the department continues to work under new regulations due to the COVID-19 restrictions, but it continues to achieve many milestones.
But we clean the airplanes before the students go in, we clean them after the students go in. The students, they wear masks all the time. Okay, even when they're walking around, they wear masks. They wear masks while they're pre-flying the aircraft. They wear masks when they get into the aircraft.
The aviation department continues to grow and will welcome 2 new aircrafts to their fleet this upcoming fall. In addition, the program will participate in the National Intercollegiate Flying Association Regional this March, and then Nationals in May. For CBU TV, I am Ignacio Dominguez.
Well, that is all we have for you guys today.
Thank you all so much for watching.
Please make sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram.
For CBU TV, I'm Wyatt Mitchison.
And I'm Ivania Montes.
And we'll see you next time.